council that help out with this event every single month. You've seen all these familiar faces in the past. I'd like to introduce Kate, who's our newest member. She just joined this week. And all these folks work really hard every week to put together the events, lining up the speakers, when it's hybrid, putting the venues together, organizing the invites, everything like that. So if you are interested in joining our team, please reach out to me, let me know. If you like doing any sort of marketing, or you have a skill in event planning, or just socializing in general, just feel free to reach out to me or one of the people on the TUG advisory board, and we'll get you signed up. So our agenda for today, just a couple housekeeping announcements, and then we'll jump straight to our featured speaker, Nicole Klassen, who is a data visualization developer at Apt Associates. She's doing a great presentation on creating collaborative Vizzes. So if you want to know some tips and tricks how to collaborate on dashboard development, this is a presentation you want to check out. And then at the end, as usually, we're going to do our virtual networking breakout room. We're going to have one again this time. Homer and I are going to be one of the co-hosts of that, and it's going to be Ask Anyone Anything. So if you have anything around Tableau, please come to that breakout room, and we'll be happy to chat with that in a group setting. So it's really cool to network and meet some folks there. So real quick reminder on the meeting format. This is a live meeting, so we encourage you to turn on your cameras if you can. We like to see everyone's faces. There's a little Zoom gallery view, so use that. If you have any comments or questions, please put them in the chat. If you have any questions around the presentation itself, send them to Homer, and Homer will go ahead and collect those, and we'll do a Q&A at the end of our presentation. I'll also be sending out a short survey that we'll have, which if you could take 1 second to complete, that would give us some great feedback so we can help improve these events in the future. So some housekeeping and announcements. We have our December TUG coming up, our last TUG of the year. And it's going to be featuring Adam Miko, who is a principal for data visualizations at Moderna. And he's done a lot of things with Tableau. He's a visionary, he's an ambassador. He even won the first DataFam Golden Hoodie Award. So pretty cool guy. And he has a new book coming out as well. So definitely want to check out his presentation. And then we are planning a happy hour. That's going to be that third week. It's going to be this 15th of December. And we are going to have a happy hour where everybody here in Austin can get together and have some beverages and refreshments. It'll be a good time. So that information will be going out in the next week or so. So please keep a lookout for that, and RSVP if you plan to attend. And then lastly, we're going to be kicking off the new year with our January TUG on the 12th. So we've got a great speaker lined up for then. So please look out for the invite for that too. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Nicole. Nicole, as I mentioned, is a data visualization developer over at Apt Associates, and she's been doing Tableau for a long time. She has a lot of experience. And prior to doing that, she worked in psychology, doing analytics, and a lot of her visualizations tend to be around social good. So Nicole, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I will. Oh, can you stop sharing?
There you go. There you
go. Yes, I do. Thank you for that introduction and for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here today. So yes, I've been in Tableau for, oh, this is a weird thing with the camera again. I'm going to turn my camera off while I'm talking because I have two screens. Maybe I'm going to turn my camera off. We're good. I'm just not going to look over there. So I've been working with Tableau for about 6 years now. And I've been doing a lot with Tableau Public just in the last 2. So a lot of, my background prior to that, as mentioned, was in psychology. And so what I work in at Apt is doing social science visualizations around social science research, which is something that I'm really passionate about. And when I started getting into the Tableau Public world, I started doing collaborations with one of my coworkers, doing just fun collaborative Vizzes. And we realized that not only were we having just a ton of fun, working together on Vizzes that were just for fun, but it also really stepped up our skills in the workplace and helped us at our jobs be able to collaborate a lot more efficiently on projects for our clients. So we got started, my friend Juana and I, we are the two who got started with collaborating and kind of got me collaborating. And we started with the Atlanta Tug, had a kind of data viz competition similar to Iron Viz. And her and I did an entry together. And since then, we've done the one that was on Dolly Parton. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 different dashboards. So here's some samples of that. We did another one together for Women in Analytics competition. And then one on climate change for a competition that Tableau did. And creating these Vizzes together has its own unique challenges, but really helped us step up our game, both again in our Tableau public work, which then translated into our jobs. And through this work with public and collaborating, we both actually stepped into new roles recently in the past 4 months. So we were able just to grow outside of where we were and get these new roles that have just been outstanding. And so, when you think about collaborating at work, we actually do it all the time, but at least for me, like I didn't realize how much I was doing it and how much I was being hindered by not knowing how to collaborate in Tableau. Love Tableau, Tableau Public Advisor. It's a great software. It doesn't make it easy to collaborate though, like some other products that are out there. And so a lot of times in work, what we do is, we need to build dashboards together in order to get those multiple perspectives, to bring a subject matter expert in. But we end up kind of siloing ourselves. So we all meet together, we talk about it, and then we go off and do our own thing. And then we try to put it all together in the final product. Other ways that collaboration kind of comes up at work is if you are building a dashboard and then need to hand it off for someone to maintain it, that's still a collaboration. They still need to know how it works, how to maintain it. And so having that documentation is important. And that is something that we learned very quickly, that one of the keys to collaborating is having good documentation in a place where you both can access it and where you both have rights to edit. So the way that Juana and I do it, again, when we started in the public and then we translated it to our work, was Google Docs and Google Drive. So whatever version of some kind of sharing software, it doesn't have to be Google Docs and Drive, it can be Box, it can be OneDrive, just anywhere where multiple people can go in and edit was really helpful, because then we would have just one document for resources. This is what we put together when creating our climate change viz. And this isn't even all of the references we used. This is just a screenshot, but I could go look for links, she could go look for links, and we just both put them in the same document. I could see her typing, so I didn't have to wait for her to check it out. And we just created everything in there. That helps not only with having all your documentation in one place, but also, as we've gone to this virtual environment, being able to collaborate with friends or team members virtually instead of needing to sit down. There are a lot of tools out there to help with this, Figma, Miro. So being able just to pull everything together was one of those keys to collaborating, especially in Tableau. Excuse me. And another one, again, for any situation is getting feedback. So, when I would first talk to people about collaboration, they only thought about collaborating on building a dashboard, but collaboration goes outside that. It goes to reaching out to people to get feedback. It goes to reaching out to people to help, if you want to add something artistic to your dashboard, you could have a designer come in and help design aspects of it, and then you put them into the dashboard. So one thing that we do a lot as collaborating is getting feedback from clients, from coworkers. This is office hours, which is something that Michelle Freeman Zach Geis, who is a Tableau visionary, and myself run weekly, and you can come with any data viz tool, share your screen, and we'll kind of walk through it and help give feedback on that. That's another way, again, just to take those Vizzes to the next level and work with people who you may not always work with, just to get that feedback for it. So I love collaborating. Why do I love it? It has a lot of benefits. It's not one of those things where it's just like, oh, look, it's another thing I don't want to do. Like, you do it because there's a whole lot of benefits to it as well. It does expand your skills. It definitely improves your communication because, I can have something in my head pictured out exactly how I want it on a dashboard. But if I'm working with someone, I have to communicate that vision to them. And that is something that I actually found more challenging than I thought it would be, because I am a very visual person and I can't speak visual. So that was something that I learned as collaborating was, okay, I need to learn. I learned Figma, you can learn Miro or anything, where PowerPoint even, where I can draw something and share it because I wasn't able to verbally communicate it. You get to work on something that you love and you want to research. And maybe, like for me, I do a lot of very long Vizzes, which take a whole lot of time. And I don't always have the energy or the ability to do that. So collaborating with someone means I get to build bigger dashboards. And so then I get to try new techniques, new skills, find more research, tell a larger story, because I'm sharing that workload instead of trying to take it all myself and just burning out. If you do collaborate on kind of personal fun Vizzes, you get to meet other data fan members and just kind of grow that network, which is actually a big part of how I started collaborating, which led me to the data fam, which led me to connecting with someone who landed me in this role that I'm loving. And so, there's just a whole bunch of possibilities for networking and just sharing the joy. I find a lot of people in data viz absolutely love data viz, and we have this excitement for it that people outside of data viz just don't understand. My husband looks at me like I'm crazy all the time, so I'll get so excited or I'll shout when I get a calculation to work, and it's like, all right, you don't understand. Let me go tell somebody who actually knows about table calcs and why it's so amazing that I just got this done. So you can kind of share that when you're working with others. So some tips on collaborating, especially, with Tableau: scheduling calls, engaging with the communities to meet people. And by doing that, you can share technical expertise. So if there's a chart that you really just want to build and you don't know how to do it, by having that network and that collaboration, you can help someone who knows how to do it work with you. And then you can get your dashboard exactly how you want it. You can get different design ideas. Design is something that I definitely lacked when I came into this. I came from social science, so very much numbers. We like numbers. We liked our tables. Data viz alone was new for me, let alone like actual design. And so that's where collaborating has really helped me grow in that area as well. And just someone to have fun with, especially now that we're so virtual. I know a lot of tugs are starting to go hybrid or trying to go in person, but a lot of our work is still very virtual. And so having that connection is something that really helps. Select a topic that you both enjoy and want to research. This is kind of for outside of work. At work, sometimes you don't get to choose, but something that you both enjoy. Clearly communicate time and timelines. That's something where a lot of people get hung up on and can have a really bad experience collaborating if they don't communicate. And then, one person just falls off and, for whatever reason, like life happens, but they don't tell your partner that. And then it just kind of spirals and it becomes not a great experience. Creating your collaboration kit, which I'll talk about in a minute, but that is, with Tableau not being the greatest for collaborating in the sense like you don't know when someone else has your workbook open, sharing data sources can be hard if you're on different networks. Having a place that you can collaborate everywhere else and then just do the final in Tableau really helps with your dashboarding. And then again, if you're going to do this on Tableau Public, establish how you'll publish your Viz and who will share it. It's something that Juana and I never really thought about until the end, until we were ready to share it and publish it. And it's like, well, all right, we both did create that. Like, how do we want to market it? That it is a collaboration, that we both did it, that we want to share that joy. So these are a couple of QR codes. I did a blog post on this kind of tips for collaborating from a Tableau Public's perspective, and it has a little bit more about that collaboration kit and what that is. Or I do run an initiative that's called Viz Collab, where people can just fill out a Google form, and if you want to do a collaboration, and if there's someone else kind of who wants to do similar topics to you, I'll email you guys and partner you up if you want to collaborate. So part of that idea of a collaboration kit is, how do you want to share your workbook? How do you want to share your sources? How do you want to share your data? And this definitely comes into play in the workplace, as because you need to be able to have that revision history, to work on it simultaneously, to bring in the dashboards that the clients need. So how can you add file sharing, data sharing to this collaboration kit? There are a couple of different ways. Tableau in and of itself, when you save your workbook, it's a .twb, .twbx, that is just a giant XML file, which was something that I was really scared to touch, and I didn't touch it for a really long time. And now I realize I love it, and I actually do a lot of work in the XML file. So knowing that it's an XML file, one, means that you can upload that to GitHub. And so that's one way to kind of track changes and to have a central repository for your collaboration is through Git. And there are people, both just like individuals as well as companies, who actually have a business model around this, where they take the XML file, version 1, version 2, and can compare them and tell you exactly what's changed from one version to another. And that, again, is something you can kind of look at and see if you're tracking it through Git. There's Python code out there that'll track it. This is an example of our Shiny app that someone is building, and it's really exciting. It's not ready yet, but I'm so excited for it. This is a screenshot that Paula shared on Twitter, and it uses that XML file to tell you like what data sources are being used, aren't being used, which variables are being used, where are they being used. So that's part of that communication and documentation, and you can use the XML files to document that in a more efficient manner, rather than like having to hand type out everything and like, what exactly did I do? What didn't I do? Another thing I love about the XML files is it lets you do mass updates. Little aside from collaborating, but it's something I really thought like has helped me at work, so I'm going to share it, which is, for example, somewhere I worked, my company changed their official color palette. So marketing, whatever, went through, rebranded. Now we have different colors, and all the dashboards were in the old, company branded colors. So you can actually open Tableau like in an XML file, and if you know all of your hex codes, and like purple has to go to blue, then you can just do kind of like a control find and replace. And in the XML file, replace every purple hex code with the blue hex code. And you don't have to go through all your sheets and all your charts and like click, 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 and have the new one. So XML files in collaborating, they're great for version control. You can see what's changed. Outside of it, mass updates is what I use it for the most. Like if I need all my filters changed, if I need something that just needs to have all of that, it's a great place to go. And then I talked about like Python code. You can use that to analyze the XML, pull out changes, pull out formulas, share that with the person that you're collaborating with. Tableau also has a feature called Tableau Bookmarks. So it's a .tbm file. And this is a way, so you save your dashboard, it's a .twb. I just said that wrong. But if you can actually save a single sheet within Tableau, and that's called a bookmark. And it works exactly the way as copying and pasting a sheet from one dashboard to another. So you are still going to duplicate your data source, unfortunately, if you copy it that way. But the nice thing about having it as a bookmark is that when you are working with someone else, everybody knows exactly which sheets have been used, which sheets were there. And so you're not having to constantly open two workbooks and go, okay, did they copy this one over? Did they copy this one over? Like, you just have all the sheets and you just know you have to bring in all of the bookmark files in this folder when it's your turn to take over the workbook. So this way you can kind of spread it out. You've had your brainstorming meeting. You guys know the dashboard you need to build. You have your collaborators. You know which sheets each person needs to build. They can build them on their own, save all the bookmarks into one folder. And then whoever's job it is to, kind of open Tableau and do the final build can just import everything from that data source. So bookmarks are something that I've actually used a lot, but I'm probably like the only person that uses them. But it is really can be helpful. And then finally, or not finally, but another way to help with collaboration is on server. So if you are working at a place, well, backtracking, Tableau now has web edit for Tableau public as well as server. And it works, if you're on server, it works really well with the web authoring after something is uploaded. They've definitely enhanced this web authoring ability. And so that's a place where, you can upload a dashboard that's, 75% done. And then you and someone else can go into that web edit and work together to get it that last, 25%. Another way of collaborating on server is shared data sources. So everybody knows and has one kind of central, you can upload a data source and then everyone you're working with uses that same data source. That helps with issues of, definitely worked with people who like copy a data source over into their own file. And now they're not picking up the new data or the new structure or something like that. And so, having a place where not only is it a shared resource, but people can't move it and that their dashboards will always be up to date really helps with building those. And the server has built-in revision history, which is also really nice in case, something changes or, something has happened where two people are working on it separately and accidentally overwrite each other. Sorry, we're getting remnants of Nicole, the Hurricane Nicole. And I just saw things blowing out my window. But that way, if someone accidentally, overwrites a workbook or, you've uploaded it kind of at the same time, they haven't kind of got that, you can always go back to the older version if you need to. So that's, again, another way. And Tableau's put out some collaboration solutions around there as well. That's what the URL is. A lot of that revolves around server, but on public, they're starting to bring that up as well. So those are what I had. I do realize I talk fast, but I'm definitely open for any questions or any conversation.
All right. Well, thanks, Nicole. All right. Well, let's open the floor. I guess Homer. I guess before I turn it over to you, I did have a question, Nicole. I guess what do you have you mentioned Figma, Miro. Do you have or even PowerPoint, for example? Do you have a favorite tool that you use for maybe sharing your designs and ideas?
So my favorite is Figma. One thing I like about Figma, but again, I know Miro does the same thing. I just haven't learned it yet. But what I really like about Figma is it works similar to something like a Google Doc where multiple people can be in it. And like if I'm in it and Juana's in it, I see her mouse and I see what she's doing and she can edit what I've done and I can edit what she's done. So that's why I really do like Figma. But I do know Miro does very similar work. And I know people who love Miro too. And I feel like in the chat, Kate mentioned, I'm going to pronounce that very wrong. I don't know what that software is, but it sounds like another good one to learn for collaborating as well. Balsam, is it balsamic?
Balsamic, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know that
That-
one.
Yeah, that's a good one too. All right, cool. Homer, did we have any other questions come in? I got a couple more myself, but wanted to share the floor.
I don't have any at this time.
Okay.
So if
Um,
anyone else has a question, go ahead and send me a DM, and I'll then pitch it to Nicole.
or feel free to come off mute. You could
Yeah,
speak
that's
as
your
well.
other
You could
option.
do that too.
Speak up.
I had a question around some of the projects you showed at the beginning. I mean, it looked like a lot of collaboration to do those. How long did some of those take? Like the women in analytics, for example, that looked pretty complex. Like there was another one at the bottom. I don't know what that was. Like this collaboration over how long? Like how many weeks or months does that take?
The ones that I've collaborated on do take, I mean, they take weeks. I would say like total 40 to 60 hours. But
Oh, wow.
that's because the type of dashboarding that I tend to do is, I call them visual literature reviews. So it's not just kind of those fun poster dashboards, which I love. But most of my time is actually not in Tableau. Out of that 40 to 60 hours, maybe 20 is Tableau, 15 to 20. Most of it is research and just trying to find the story, find the data. I think all of those had a minimum of 6 data sources in them. So that's where a lot
Oh,
of
wow.
time is.
Yeah, those are some big projects. That's a way to stick with it, I guess. One other question I had was around, you mentioned different ways with XML and types of ways, like the thumbnails, to merge. Like, how do you, what's the most common way you merge, your changes together?
That is a great question.
Like if you're working in parallel with someone, like, what's a good way to sort of, so you're not bottlenecked there?
Yeah. So in a professional setting, I would say Bookmarks. So that's where we use, again, I use Figma at work too. PowerPoint's also a great way to do it though, just because a lot of people know PowerPoint, so it can be pretty easy. But either way, we kind of line it all up to begin with, and we line up what each of the sheets are going to be, what all the calculations need to be, what all the specifications are, everything like that ahead of time in like a prototyping phase. And then because we can build separately at that point and we all know what's going on, we build separately, bookmark it, bring it together. For personal Vizzes, that gets a little bit harder because when I'm doing that, I have to use Tableau Public, like I can't use my desktop license. And so at that point, the only way to share is sharing links through Tableau Public, because with Public, it actually doesn't save, and that like you only can save it online. So at that point, it becomes the communication and kind of having a spreadsheet. We've done that where like you have a checkout time. So if I'm working with someone, like I just ping them or text them or whatever. But if it's someone that, is maybe in a different time zone or a different country, you can have like a spreadsheet that's like, I opened it at this time, I closed it this time, and then just sharing links back and forth.
Like a check-in, check-out sort of system. Gotcha.
Yep.
What is the furthest country that you've collaborated with?
So actually building a Viz has just been in the US, but a lot of the feedback initiatives, we get people from everywhere. Australia, a lot in Europe, a lot Asia. I have someone who I'm going to start a collaboration with who is in Europe. We're hoping to start one soon, so all over.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good. Well, great. Well, Homer, were there any additional questions there?
No, not from our audience, but I had one myself. Nicole, when you start one of these collaboration projects, do you run it like a project? Do you have communication meetings? Do you set a schedule? Do you,
I would
try project plan.
Do some sort of a project plan.
Honestly, yeah, we do. And it's not because either of us are like micromanaging or anything, but it's just because when you're collaborating, it tends to be very asynchronous, and having those kind of project plan and communication meetings helps keep it not only on track, because I mean, life happens and work is exhausting, and it's just kind of like, maybe I don't want to do this right now. And it makes me either do it or reach out. Like, especially if it's a fun biz, it's fine to push out a deadline, but it makes me reach out and be like, hey, I need to push it. And so those communication meetings help with that.
But when it's for work and it's a project that probably has a deadline, then you have to be a little bit more formal, a little more structured, right?
Oh yeah, there's project plans when we do it that way, like in project. I can't even remember what the software is now, but yeah, we have like a
Yeah.
software that's like,
Yeah.
this is your deadline, and you have like, this is what we expected, and this is who's doing what.
And then, what are your typical team sizes? And have you found there's an optimal team size, or is there a team size that's just simply too large?
I would say
Good question.
more than 3 people is probably getting too large at that point. I typically just have teams of 2, and just with a team of 2, you know, we'll have projects that are, what's my one now? It's like 25 dashboards with 2 people, but that still works out pretty well. Partially from that kind of project plan perspective, where it's easier to track what 2 people are doing, and importing, you know, sheets or doing formatting helps with it too. But yeah, once you get over 3, you start running into more issues than solutions, is kind of what I found on single dashboards.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, great. Well, great questions, Homer. Well, Nicole, you know, thanks for all the tips and tricks around collaboration. I'm definitely going to try a couple of them myself this week. So, how about everybody give Nicole a great welcome round of applause there. Thank you, Nicole, for your virtual applause there. So, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today, and we'll have you back soon.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.